doing? Get away from the PS5s! Hey, put your pants back on! No! Don't poop! I'm my gangster for my gangster for my gangster for. Don't poop! I'm my gangster for my gangster for my gangster for. Don't poop! I'm my gangster for my gangster for my gangster for. Don't poop! I'm my gangster for my gangster for my gangster for.
All right, welcome back to the Game Store Guy podcast. I'm your host, Kevin, CC Game CEO. This is episode 260? Yeah, 260. I think that's right. Anyway, I was on VGO last week, and that little ditty there at the beginning was made by John in typical John fashion. So I'll play the whole thing in its entirety at the end if you want to listen to John scream in the microphone some more about not shitting in my game store, which is actually pretty funny. But just to reiterate it, go back I don't know what number it is, but go back a couple months or so of the podcast, and I had somebody take a dump on my floor in my store. So I'm not going to go through the whole story here, but it was kind of fun to be on VGO, and we did the theme of poop in relationship to that story. So had a good time on VGO. I guess Matt had decided to step down, which I did not know before agreeing to do that episode of VGO. I found out after the fact. I was booked on that show probably like 3-4 weeks in advance of when we were supposed to do that. I just happened to be the next guy, and I know some of you guys really loved Matt, and no one's trying to replace Matt, but if they want a third host, I would be willing to do it, and I know many others would be willing to do it, and if they choose me, great. If not, I don't care. It's fine. I'm not going to be mad either way. They got to do what's best for the show, and I do like to argue, but I tend to agree. You know what's funny is I probably would agree with Michelle more than John. If I was going to argue with somebody, it'd probably be John. John has some off-the-wall takes. Like I know he likes to say John Stradamus, but who could forget like his Stadia? I was on there when we were talking about Stadia. I told him it was going to fail, and I was right. He was wrong. I would probably argue with John more than I would argue with Michelle. However, Michelle is a little bit. If I had to just criticize Michelle is too all about PC. Now I know that's her thing. She's the PC person, but man, she just like shits on consoles, and you know, rightfully so. I don't. The thing is, like, I look at console gamers and I look at PC gamers as two totally different demographics. They are. And like last week on the show, and even a little bit when I was on the show, the idea of the average gamer came up. And the average gamer is not listening to this podcast or not listening to VGO. The average gamer is coming in my store and pooping on the floor. Just joking. But the average gamer doesn't give a shit about any, teraflops, or they just care. Can I play Mario Kart? Can I play, whatever game is their favorite on their favorite console? They're not into the politics of gaming. They're not into, all the culture war bullshit that goes on right now. And I know it's hard for people to believe, and I talk about this all the time. And when I have Game Trade Greg on, another game store owner, you can kind of hear that the average person doesn't care. Greg agrees with me. The average person coming into our stores, like a grandma or somebody, or like, somebody buying something for their kids, they don't know any of that stuff. They just want to get something that their kids would like, and likewise, the average person, they just want to play like their sports games, their college football, their Madden. They don't care about any of this other bullshit. They just want, they got their favorite controller, and that might make the difference between what system they got. Oh, I like PlayStation controller better than Xbox. And that's about as far as they get into, whether this system's more powerful than that system, and vice versa. But the average gamer is the majority, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. The majority of people don't give a shit about any of the stuff we talk about. That's why I think it was funny how the Switch 2, it's been being leaked a lot, and just yesterday, as of this recording, Nintendo put out a quick video showing like a render of the Switch 2, and they showed a new Mario Kart and how Mario Kart's going to launch with it. It's also rumored that that Halo Master Chief Collection might launch with the Switch 2, which is some spicy information out of Xbox. But I love all the people like super analyzing, like, I don't know, the 15 seconds of footage we got for Mario Kart, and trying to decipher what kind of graphics they're going to get out of the machine. Now the leaks, and I think even Nintendo I don't know, the leaks are saying we're on PlayStation 4 Pro level, which is great for a handheld, to be honest. And for me, I just want to play Nintendo games. So like, I want a new Mario Kart. I don't care that it's not the most powerful system. I like the way the Switch is kind of like a sleek little thin device. To be honest, the Steam Deck is cool, but I don't like how big and bulky it is. I'd rather have, it's much easier to take a Switch with me when I'm traveling than it is a big bulky Steam Deck. And to be honest, I'm not a PC guy. I have a gaming PC. It's getting a little older now. I need to upgrade. But I'm not a big PC gamer. I just prefer consoles. And I know PCs can do everything better. But that's not why. I mean, I like just the ease of use on a console, which I think the average gamer, and I'm not saying I'm an average gamer. I'm way above. I'm in the top, percent. And anybody who listens to this, you're probably like in the top 5% of gamers. But we are the minority. We are not the majority. So like, we're just a loud vocal minority, like online, on Twitter, on Discord, on all that stuff. The hardcore gamers are the minority. So I think companies need to get back to making more stuff. Stop listening to the hardcore of the hardcore and just make stuff that appeal to the average gamer. And I think that's what Nintendo's doing. They found something that really, really worked well with Switch. I mean, it's probably going to overtake PlayStation 2 for the #1 selling console of all time. And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the Switch 2 is just... I thought it was funny. I was just listening to John and Michelle's thing, because John said it was bigger and blacker. So that's all it is. It's bigger and it's blacker. So somebody's going to clip that. But that was a John term, not me. And all Nintendo has to do is just take the current thing and make it a little bit better. And that's all they got. That's all they're doing. And my only, I was kind of hoping they might have called it Super Switch, not Switch 2. But thank God they called it Switch 2. Because I can tell you, and I've ranted and raved, like when the Wii U came out, that was like the stupidest name ever. And the even stupider name before that was when they came out with the new 3DS. Because for me, trying to explain the difference to the average gamer was infuriating, because most people had no clue that the Wii U was a different system than the Wii. A lot of people thought the Wii U was just a pad for the Wii. The system even looked like the same, but putting a number 2 on it, or like, PlayStation 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what the average gamer understands. I just wanted it to be called Super Switch. I thought that would have been sweet, like Super Nintendo, Super Switch, Super Ultra Switch, Ultra 60, Super Switch Ultra 64. How about that? Or Ultra Super Switch 64, something like that. Just throw in all the names of things that should have been. But anyway, the average gamer, number 2 is perfect. Keep it simple, stupid. That's a thing that I always operate my business by. Keep it simple, stupid, or KISS for short. But it's funny reading I was reading all like people's comments and stuff on the Switch too. How in back to, we're not talking about the average gamer, the people on this podcast, me, people that are in the Discord, the people that are on Twitter talking about all this stuff. They're like not the average gamer, and they're like ripping all the decisions that it's not powerful enough. How could Nintendo? They're complaining, like they said that it's not going to work with all the original Switch games. They said, I think, majority of Switch games, which makes sense if you think about it, because there's a lot of let's just think Labo for example. Labo is not going to work with the new the software might. But the Joy-Cons aren't going to work because you use the Joy-Cons in all that stupid cardboard shit, which my daughter loved, by the way, the Labo stuff, which was, honestly, Labo was really cool. But Labo, there's one example off the top of my head, not going to work with the new Switch, just because of how the Joy-Cons work. The other ones I was thinking, like, maybe a game like 1-2 Switch, which is like, they really intricately programmed, like one of the things I was thinking of, one of the games on there, you got to hold the remote like in the palm of your hand, and you kind of tilt it, and it feels like marbles rolling in a box, and you got to guess how many marbles are in there, which I know that sounds crazy, but it actually does feel like that, and it's crazy. But I wonder if like something like that will translate to the Switch 2. So I'm thinking stuff like that's not going to work on the Switch 2. But people were bitching that they didn't say exactly how it's going to work. Like, are the old games going to get up-resed? And to be honest, I really don't care as long as they work. That's not like the main point. Like, I swear, like, there's so many people, man, that just want to like rip apart whatever new announcement. It's just the world we live in nowadays. But I think it was a good reveal for Nintendo. I'm excited as a retailer. I'm gonna sell the shit out of it. It depends on the price too. Like I hope it's cheap, but I think it's gonna be $500, and I'd said $450 to $500, just because that's like kind of how Nintendo operates. And I'm thinking the current one, the top one, the OLED is $350. The regular one's $299, and then the Switch Lite's $199. Now, personally, like, Nintendo would knock it out of the park if this thing's like $400, and then they drop the price of the old Switch. Oh, that would be phenomenal. Like, I would sell so many of the old Switches. They would keep selling the old Switch for years and years and years if they drop the price. Like, could you imagine like the OLED being like $299, the regular one being $199, and then the Switch Lite being $100? Nintendo would sell shitloads of the old system too, and that would be a good step to maybe get, you know, the top of the line, the Switch 2 down the right way. But anyway, I'm excited for the Switch 2, as you guys can probably tell. I'm getting one day one. Mario Kart is all I need to see. I want a new Mario Kart. It's fine. It's been like a decade since that Mario Kart's been running around. I love Mario Kart. I love playing it with my daughter. I like playing it online. It looks like this one you're going to have like 24 players up from 12, which will be cool. That'll be fun. That'll be interesting. The tracks will have to be redesigned. Could you imagine doing like the tiny little tracks with 24 people? Yeah, that's not going to happen. But overall, I'm pumped for Switch 2, and April 2nd is when they're supposed to announce all the details. We'll see what happens. There's other people that are complaining that they have to wait till April. I guess at this point in my life, since owning, I mean, I used to get super excited when like new games, especially new systems. When I was a kid, man, I used to dream about when a new game would come out. I would dream about it days in advance, you know, like that's how crazy I was about video games. And I guess as I get older, I guess the thrill, I wouldn't say the thrill's gone. I still get excited about video games, but I'm patient. I can wait. But you know, when I was growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money, and it was crazy talk to think about having more than one system. I mean, I had my first console. We had an Atari, but I had an Atari like 6-7 years after it had come out. I didn't get it right away. I used to go to my grandparents' house and play Pong, and then my mom's friend had an Atari, so every time she went over there, I would go and play the Atari. I didn't even have one right away. And then I got an NES, I think like a year after it came out. And then later on, I got a Genesis. I went from NES to Genesis, and my friend had a Super Nintendo, so we would like switch back and forth. We'd go, you know, Genesis and NES. He had a Sega Master System too, so we would switch NES for Master System, and we would trade. So that's how I got to like play everything. But it was crazy to think to have more than one system. We just didn't have the money, and now that I got all this, I pretty much, I own a game store. I can have pretty much whatever game systems I want, and I guess I just don't get as excited, but I still am, just in a different way. But anyway, enough ranting about the Switch 2. Let's talk about some stuff that's going on in my store and stuff that I'm planning for. So I have an anime convention coming up. I think it's on February 8th. I think it's in Columbus. I'm not even sure. I gotta double check. I don't even know where I'm going. That's crazy. But the next major video game event I'm going to is the Midwest Gaming Classic again. I think this is my 4th year in Milwaukee, and I'm looking forward to, you know, anybody who listens, if you come up, say hi. That was fun. I met a lot of people last year that listened to the podcast. That was great. I really enjoyed that, and it's like the first weekend in April. Looking forward to that. I'm making a lot of cool new stuff to sell at that convention. And I've been diving back into YouTube a little bit and making some YouTube videos, making some like vlogs, and I'm gonna definitely be doing more of that at Midwest Gaming. I'm gonna try to get away from my booth a little bit more and record some of Midwest Gaming and show you some of the stuff I like and what's cool there, that sort of thing. But if you do go, come say hi. I don't know what my booth number is or anything, but we're about a little under 4 months away from that. The other cool, exciting news on the convention front is that the convention I went to last year in November was called Torg, T-O-R-G. It was in Columbus, Ohio. Is starting a new thing, and it's called the Torg Gamers Market. And the cool thing about it for me, which is awesome, it's in my hometown. So it's in Sandusky, Ohio. It's at the Cedar Point Sports Center, which is like this giant sports complex that is a couple miles away from Cedar Point. Cedar Point's one of the most iconic amusement parks in the country. It's one of the best. And it is in June, so it's June 21st, 22nd. And what's awesome for me, I don't got to spend any money on a hotel. I don't got to, whenever I go to these conventions, one of my biggest costs is hotel, food, travel, that sort of thing. This thing's literally like 5 minutes away from my house. And they have like about 300 vendors. It's going to be not quite as big as your normal retro gaming convention, because it's not really even a convention center. It's like this giant place that probably has about, it has about 30, 40 basketball courts and stuff. And what they do for conventions, or like whatever, is they put carpeting over top of all the floors. They change out the floors. It's crazy how they do that. And it's like a big convention center, but slightly smaller than your typical convention center. But this is cool. There's over 300 vendors. There's going to be a ton of, just a retro. It's just a smaller version of Torg, smaller version of Midwest Gaming, but it's local for me. And what's cool, I'm excited for it. I've even I've talked to the owner of it, and I'm making him some 3D printed Torg merch that he can sell at his main booth there. So not only am I going to be selling there, I'm doing the main merch stuff. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. That's June 21st and 22nd, and also right around the first weekend of June is a big anime convention called Colossal Con. I will be at that as well. I love that convention too. I'm not personally into the anime stuff, but I love going to the conventions, and I love selling at them. And the people watching at anime conventions is next level. And the more conventions I can get in my hometown, that's the less money I gotta spend. The more money I make. It's fantastic. There's nothing better than the really close conventions. And I always thought a convention would do really well here in Sandusky. The only problem with Sandusky, not that there's a problem, I love this place. It's beautiful here, especially in the summertime. It's a great tourist town. Cedar Point's phenomenal. We just don't have an airport. So the closest airport is Cleveland, about 45, Cleveland International, which is about 45-minute drive from here, which isn't bad. That's not bad, but it's still, if Sandusky had an airport, this place would be next level for a convention. But the problem is if you want to run a convention, you got to get all the guests, so you're going to have to be driving people from Cleveland to Sandusky. Now with this idea of being a gamers market, a smaller one, it's going to be less on guests and more about the game. So there's going to be more video game related items, and the owner of this convention is really going to curate and try to weed out probably more of the artists, which I'm generally considered artists, but I've been going to his convention for years now, so I'm obviously on the end. But he's going to weed out a lot of basically my competition. There probably won't be as many 3D printers as there is at a normal video game convention that I have to compete with. But to be honest, I'm kind of curious to see how this goes, because this place is awesome. It actually even has an esports arena. I guess I don't know if I'd consider it an arena, but it's probably got about 30 PCs with all the best games loaded up, and there are a lot of esports teams that go there and play, and that'll be there while the convention's going on. And if this does well, I might look into making my own convention down the road at a different time. I don't want to compete with this guy's, but if he's going to do it in the middle of June, I might do one later on. There's this crazy lull of conventions for me around January-ish. I would love to get a convention in that time frame, so maybe I'll start a CNC Games Con. I don't know what I'd call it, but I'll call it something cool. Why not? All these other game store guys are Retro Rick and stuff starting their own conventions. Why not me? All right, so Last thing I want to talk about, I did have a turd of the week, a turd come into my store. So this guy, he calls up, he talks to my employee, and I just hear my employee just like, okay, well, bring it in, we'll try to work with you, whatever. So I ask him, what is that? He goes, guy said he bought an Xbox One from us a couple weeks ago. Just wants to, he's hoping to return it. And I said, bring it in. We'll see what we can do. So the guy brings it in. We scan the system, which we track serial numbers on these systems. The guy bought it 5 months ago. 5 months ago, not a week ago, not a few weeks ago, 5 months ago. And so it's like, dude, you had it for 5 months. Like, the only thing we can really do is trade it in now. And or you can sell it to us, but we're not gonna return it. Like, if it was like a week or two, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just charge a restocking fee, which is a small percent. That way it takes care of a little bit of wear and tear on the system, plus just our time, because now we're gonna have to like clean the system, format the hard drive, clean the system up again, box it back up, get it ready for sale again. So we usually just, in that scenario, charge a small restocking fee. But this thing, it's 5 months, and I'm like, no, we gotta, trade it in and sell it. So we start doing the normal trade-in process. We start testing it. The thing doesn't read discs, doesn't read any discs, and I told him, like, look, dude, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but I can't take this. It doesn't read discs. And so then he instantly goes, well, it was like that when I got it. And I think I sighed out loud. I go, so let me get this straight. You got it 5 months ago, it didn't read discs, and you didn't bring it back? And he's like, well, I called and they just said to update it. I go, did you update it? And he's like, yeah. I go, did it read discs after that? He's like, no. And I go, and you still didn't bring it back? Like, I don't understand. I don't know what you want me to do. And I go, you already lied to us once and told us you got it a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks is not a couple months ago, not 5 fucking months ago. And he's like, oh, are you saying I'm lying about the system not working, that I didn't say it back then? I go, all I'm saying is you've had it for 5 months. You didn't bring it back. I go, I don't know what happened to it. All I know is it wasn't here. It was in your possession and it stopped working, so I can't do anything with this. And he kept trying to get me to call him a liar or something. And I was like, well, you did lie about the a couple weeks, so right there you did lie. I'm not saying you lied about this. Anything could have happened to it. You could have dropped it. An animal could have knocked it off the table, and then something's not working right, and now you want to return it. I go, but I can't return it. And he just started being a dick, and I was like, look, dude, there's not much more I can do. You can just, you got to take it and go. And he's like, well, I'm never shopping here again. And I was like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Have a nice day. That's all I did. But I was so pissed after that, because I don't get, like, people, dude, I already caught you in a lie. Like, this whole scenario, this whole transaction all started with the lie of you saying you only got it a couple weeks ago, and yet I'm the bad guy somehow. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, while we were testing it, he's talking on the phone with somebody, talking about how he was going to pay them the next day, so he owed somebody money. So that was the whole reason he was trying to sell it to us, because he owed somebody money. But to be honest, when he said, yeah, I'm never shopping here, I really wanted to say, good, I won't have to deal with you ever again. That's literally what came up in my mind. Of course, I bite my tongue. I didn't say that, trying to be professional, but I wanted to. But anyway, I think that's about all I got this week. Looking forward to watching the Buckeyes hopefully win a national championship on Monday. That'll make my year a little bit brighter to see the team I like win something, which it's been a while since any teams I've liked have won something. I think the last time any teams I liked was the Cavs in 2016. So yeah, it's been about 9 years since one of my teams have won everything. So I'm excited. I'm hoping the Buckeyes can do it. Notre Dame's pretty good. If Notre Dame wins, I'm not gonna be heartbroken. It'll suck, but I got some friends that are Notre Dame fans, and I'll be happy for them if they win. So looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. And I'm out.
Hey, what are you doing? Get away from the PS5s! Hey, put your pants back on!